Good afternoon, Exiles. So my last video, I showed you how to set up a emergency ridge line and an emergency shelter out of that 10x10 tarp. But let's say you don't have that big 10x10 tarp, or it's really cold. And what you have with you is this space blanket that it's like 5x6, 5x8, something like that. So what we're going to do with it is we're going to spread it out like this. And we're going to do similar to what we did last time. We're going to stick the press loop through the eyelet, shove our stick through there, and that'll hold this in. Now we're going to come down here to our other press loop, stick it through the eyelet, and put our stick through there. Then we can pull the press loops nice and tight. And we want this shelter to be lower than our last shelter. Let me grab the stakes out of my backpack real quick. Right out of my haversack here. So we only need 2 stakes this time. See, there's a problem. Our stakes will not fit through our eyelets. So let me move the camera and I'll show you what we can do with some small pieces of 550 cord to fix that problem. Alright, so the stake won't fit through the eyelet on these cheap tarps. These cheap space blankets. So you should prep these beforehand by taking 4 feet or fingertip to your opposite shoulder of 550 cord. And in my last video when we made the ridge line, I said we'll use all 100 feet of 550 cord to make things out of. This is one of the things we make out of it. So you put it through the eyelet, you make an X, pull it through that loop, come down below it, wrap it around again, pull it through. That's a 2/2 hitch. This is a good knot for anchoring things, so it anchors it here. Now we don't want to tie a complicated knot on the other end. This knot will stay in here forever now, and we don't want to use a complicated knot on the other end because this is an emergency shelter, so we're using it when we're cold or tired and wet. You just take our stake and shove it in the ground here. Now we want to take the rope, the 550 cord we leave tied to the ridge line. We want to do just the same way we do in the video where I build the rope tied to the tarp. And we want to do the same thing we did when we tried the trucker's hitch on the end of our ridge line, and the other video I did about how to hang up your bag in the woods. We want to do the same thing. Turn the rope like you're to make a loop. Turn it like you're starting your car. That gives you a loop here. Now you reach through that loop and grab the rope above it. That's called an Albright knot. Now we just take our Albright knot here and slide it over our tent stake. Let's get this white rope out of the way. And now we got a nice secure knot. If this is loose and you need to adjust it, you can just feed the rope through it. And it's a nice, quick, easy adjustable knot that's easy to tie when you're cold and wet. And if you need, or when you go to leave, it doesn't get stuck. You just pull your stake out, loosen it a little bit to get it off those notches, and there it's untied. Your backpack or haversack or whatever you go out in the woods with should also keep in there, and I keep in my everyday carry bag as well, 2 50-gallon or even 30-gallon contractor thick heavy-duty trash bags. Now you can lay these down, keep you off the wet ground. Now it will not insulate you, but it'll at least keep you dry. And if this is an emergency, I could build a nice long fire right out here to keep me warm. And that heat will be reflected by the silver of this thing. And because it's so low and so close, a lot of the hot air will get trapped in here with me, and it'll keep me as warm as possible. Not comfortable, but it will keep you from freezing, even on a cold, snowy night. Keep you alive, at least, if you get stuck in the woods with just your basic ridgeline, your emergency space blanket, and 2 trash bags. Now let me show you what you do if you don't have the blanket and all you got your 2 trash bags, like what's in my everyday carry bag. I don't carry this with me everywhere I go. It's too big and bulky. That'd be crazy. Alright, so this next shelter, it's just like I just said, it was what I carry in my everyday carry kit, or everyday carry bag. So 2 contractor grade trash bags. I think these are 30 gallons, 50 gallons will work, and the 30 feet of 550 cord, and a knife. So you take your knife. Probably the hardest part of this whole thing is getting these trash bags open. First trash bag open. Want to reach through here and carefully, without cutting yourself, cut through close to the bottom where the seam is. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer to the seam you can get, the better. So basically, you want to take your trash bag and you can tear it some too, but basically you want to take your trash bag and turn it into a tube. I'll do the other one and then show you the next step. After you have the 2 trash bags cut in half, or cut open so there's tubes, you want to tie your ridge line, again, low to the ground, knee high or so. And you want to pass the ridge line through both trash bags. And be careful when you're cutting the bottom out with your knife. You don't want to poke too many holes in it. And if you can, you want to take the ends that you cut open that might have holes in them and put those towards the middle. So we want to tie off with our trucker's hitch. Again, I got a video on how to tie a trucker's hitch, but I'm just going to tie it real quick off camera here. Alright, after you get your ridge line set up and get your 2 bags together, you want to pull the bags so they overlap more than you need them, and you want to crawl through from this side. It's like this bag here is inside of this bag, so you want to crawl through this direction. And the reason you want extra overlap is because they tend to spread apart as you crawl in. And if you can find dry leaves, cardboard, any insulation to put in here with you, even better. But this is a pretty last ditch shelter. Let's see if I can get in here. Get in here. Alright, it's not perfect. You won't be happy. You won't be warm, but you will be warmer than if you're just laying on the ground. And you will be dry. Alright, so now that we got this done, let me show you another option where you can use these trash bags with a fire. Alright, now that you saw me crawl in here in the tube version of the trash bag shelter, let me show you a trash bag shelter. It's like the Beverly Hills trash bag shelter. So you set up your ridge line like you would for the 10 by 10 tarp or the space blanket. You take the trash bags that already have the bottom cut out of them, and now you want to cut the side out of them too. And try to do this in sort of a straight line. Alright, so now that we got the bottoms cut out of these, we need to overlap them a few inches. About like that. Hold on. I still need to turn. There you go. Now you can see. And about, you know, 3-4 inches-ish. And put pieces of duct tape. And I like to put them at a 45-degree angle. That maximizes the strength, in my opinion. I don't know that for sure. And then put a couple strips all the way down to make one big tarp out of the 2 trash bags. Alright, now that we got our giant tarp trash bag duct tape thing, and duct tape should be part of your kit. The little 1-inch wide Gorilla Tape's the best. So, and you can see the duct. This is good Gorilla Tape, but it still popped off. This shelter, you need practice with it. I'm not very well practiced with it. But you want to pull the tarp, or the edge of the trash bags, so they're right below your ridge line. You want to come far back as you can, and just put the edge over your ridge line, like that. Now to attach it, we got to do a little cool trick, because we cannot poke any holes in here, put grommets in. If we do, the plastic's going to rip immediately. So take a rock, stick it through the hole, then take the prusik loop and tie it. Now this is going to stay super well until we do the other end, and then once we pull that tight, once we pull the other end tight, we're done, and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, I'll admit this isn't the most comfortable bed I've ever slept on, but it gets you out of the rain, keeps you dry from the ground. Like I said earlier, if you have cardboard or anything you can find dry to shove in here for insulation, even better. And what I like about this over the one you have to crawl in is as long as you orient this so the wind is coming in through the back, and you make sure to tape up that seam pretty good, you'll stay nice and dry, and you can put a fire across here to keep you warm. And if you put a fire next to the tube one that I did before this one, you'll just melt your shelter, and that would suck. And if you do build a fire here, you want low fire burning nice and slow. You don't want lots of flames, you want mostly coals, because if it gets too hot, again, you'll melt your shelter, and I really wouldn't want this plastic melting and dripping on me while I'm asleep. So I hope this doesn't come in handy for you. This is the one time I'm going to say I hope this doesn't come in handy for you. But I hope you go out and practice with this. If you spend any time in the woods, you really should practice emergency shelters and have a basic emergency shelter kit on you in case you get caught out in bad weather. But also, anybody should, because you never know when you're going to be caught in a snowdrift or anything like that and need to know how to do this. So, please share this with anybody you think might need to know how to build these types of shelters. Thank you for watching. Get out and practice, and remember, we, his people, will start rebuilding.